In the early hours of January 15, 1966, a group of young Nigerian soldiers staged a coup that would change the course of the nation's history.
Yes.
At the forefront was Major Kaduna Nzeogwu, a man whose ideals, ambitions, and actions remain a subject of debate to this day.
That's very true.
Nzeogwu was born on February 26, 1937, in Kaduna, northern Nigeria, to Igbo parents from Opanam, present-day Delta State. His upbringing in a multicultural environment shaped his worldview and his deep sense of Nigeria's unity. Nzeogwu's military training took him to the prestigious Royal Military Academy in Sandhurst, England, where he honed his skills and developed a strong sense of discipline and patriotism. By 1966, Nigeria was a young nation grappling with political instability, corruption, and ethnic tensions.
Still grappling with it today.
Nzeogwu and his fellow officers saw themselves as saviors, determined to cleanse the country of its ills.
They needed positive change.
In his famous radio broadcast announcing the coup, Nzeogwu says our enemies are the political profiteers, the swindlers, the men in high and low places that seek bribes and demand 10%.
Our enemies are the political profiteers, the swindlers, the men in high and low places that seek bribes and demand 10%. Those that seek to keep the country divided permanently so that they can remain in office as ministers or VIPs at least. The tribalists, the nepotists, those that make the country look big for nothing before international circus. Those that have corrupted our society and put the Nigerian political calendar back by their words and deeds. Like good soldiers, we are not promising anything miraculous or spectacular. But what we do promise every law-abiding citizen is freedom from fear and all forms of oppression. Freedom from general inefficiency and freedom to live and thrive in every field of human endeavor, both nationally and internationally. We promise you that you will no more be ashamed to say that you are a Nigerian. I leave you with a message of good wishes and ask for your support at all times so that our land, watered by the Niger and Benue, between the sandy wastes and the Gulf of Guinea, washed in salt by the mighty Atlantic, shall not detract Nigeria from gaining sway in any great aspect of international endeavor. I wish you all good luck, and I hope you will cooperate with the fullest in this job which we have set for ourselves of establishing a prosperous nation and achieving solidarity.
Today, now, the reason for the coup, has it been achieved? Was it achieved? Is it still present in our lives today? Are there politicians who has taken this country to be their personal property? Are there people who collect percentages of the public funds and put in their private pockets? Do you have free speech? Do you have freedom? Are you well and gainfully employed? Those are the very pertinent questions on the minds of everyone listening to this. What is the way forward? If these conditions and these things were there many years ago, and it is still here with us today and still rearing a very dangerous head, when do you think this will stop? And how do you think you can fix this country? For me and many Biafrans, we know that this can no longer be fixed by mere words of the mouth. It is time to to revisit the very foundation and the very principle that led to the action of the 1966 coup. It is time to wake up as a people and fight, and that is why it is pertinent that every man, every woman, no matter where you are, even if you are Biafra or not, you need to support the Biafra movement. You need a situation where a new government would be formed, and then certain issues discussed and changes made. The laws are fraudulent. The laws are, incomplete and inconsistent with the realities of today. These and many more are the reasons, the cogent and genuine reasons for Biafra.
The coup, though initially successful in the north, ultimately failed to achieve its nationwide objectives. Key political figures, including Premier of the Northern Region, Ahmadu Bello, and Premier of the Western Region, Ladoke Akintola, were assassinated. The Prime Minister of Nigeria, Tafawa Balewa, was killed in the coup. Some have said that Nzeogwu's actions were driven by a desire for a united Nigeria, free from corruption and tribalism. However, his methods and the coup's fallout remain controversial. Some saw him as a hero who dared to challenge a corrupt system, while others viewed him as a traitor whose actions led to a chain of events that plunged Nigeria into a civil war. Following the coup, Nzeogwu was imprisoned but later released to fight on the side of Biafra during the Nigerian Civil War. His commitment to the Biafran cause, however, was short-lived. Did Nzeogwu fight for Biafra? Nzeogwu had his own mission. That is where referring to books comes in. If you look at this work of biographical history, Obasanjo tells the story of Nzeogwu. It is one of the classics on Nzeogwu. In fact, it is the most comprehensive work on Nzeogwu written by Obasanjo, an officer that knew him closely. It is not from this book that I intend to read on this edition of State Affairs. The book I want to read from is this book, The Nigerian Revolution and the Biafran War, The Aftermath, written by Alexander Madiebo. I want to read from this book. Reading is key to unlocking the mind's potential. It bridges the past, present, and future, empowering us with knowledge, igniting creativity, and fostering understanding. Every page turned is a step towards growth. So let's grow in the history of Kaduna Nzeogwu. Let's read from Madiebo's book. Who is Madiebo? Madiebo was the ground officer commanding of the Biafran army during the war. To state it clearly, after Ojukwu as the head of state of Biafra, the next powerful figure was General Alexander Madiebo. After the war and after returning from exile, he wrote this book. But I want to read from page 390 to make a point about Kaduna Nzeogwu. It is the view of Alexander Madiebo. He says, In one such operation around Ukwi Junction, Major Nzeogwu's party was ambushed by the army. Most of his men were either killed or seriously wounded. According to some reports, Nzeogwu was seriously wounded and died before he could get adequate medical attention.
What are other reports?
Other reports claimed that when he got to the rear and was recognized by some Nigerian soldiers, they decided to execute him for killing the Saldana of Sokoto. Majebo continues. Nzeogwu's corpse was later taken to Kaduna for public display and burial.
So there were different perspectives.
However, it is a fact that Major Nzeogwu was never a Biafran. Can you take note of that? Alexandra Majebo in this book says Nzeogwu was never a Biafran. He continues, he did not join the Biafran army or any military or paramilitary organization throughout his life in Biafra. This is the GOC of the Biafran army talking about Nzeogwu in his book. Majebo says, rather, Nzeogwu merely used Biafra as a base to continue his fight against what he considered to be a continuation of the July 1966 coup against the federal military government of General Ramsey.
Said he is more of a northern.
He says, thus, the ultimate hero of Nigerian revolution and the Biafran war is Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu, for he was neither on the side of Ojukwu's rebellion nor on the side of Gowon's coup.